You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
This is Randy. In the future, there will be no fashion problems getting dressed in the morning, as everyone will be issued their own Buck Rogers silver jumpsuit with silver moon boots.
This is Melanie, and in the future, all the old people turn Rastafarian, but they still don't mellow out.
Well, this is Jesse. In the future, when kids get off of school over winter break, halfway through break, the PTA will send home early donation slips for Teacher Appreciation Week gifts.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Welcome to the Grawlix Podcast, episode number 61.
What?
See, maybe that should have been my New Year's resolution for last episode was this year I'm going to commit to these episode numbers with confidence.
Yeah.
No more questioning it. It's 61, I'm telling you. Not asking. That makes sense if you listen to any one of our previous 60 episodes.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time to start renumbering them.
Start reading.
Yeah.
You want to reboot?
Start with a new number one, yeah. We got to rebirth it. So it's number one, and then we can come back to legacy numbering. So we can do a rebirth and a legacy.
Sweet. Well, yeah, we'll start over. Do how many? 25?
Just 12. Just 12.
Oh, of course, 12.
Only a year, because that's all the longer that Marvel ever goes. So,
and then we'll
then we'll go. You're like, it's episode 700.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to, and this will not matter to anybody unless you are hung up on episode titles. I think I'm going to drop the Grawlix podcast off of the episode title field. So instead of it being the Grawlix podcast number, 61, and then super snappy episode title, it'll be like just number 61, super snappy episode title.
Sounds cool. I mean,
because the Grawlix podcast takes up, you know what I'm saying? Because they know it's the Grawlix podcast.
Yeah.
It's the show that, they have to, anyway, it'll say by the Grawlix podcast, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I probably should have done a while ago, but I like consistency, and I like the look of it.
But it's New Year.
Yeah, in that way, the episode title can actually, appear on their device or whatever they're listening to, or iTunes. It'll actually show up instead of just the Grawlix podcast number something, and then ...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the titles are fun, so we want them to have fun.
The titles are fun. So, hello. That was, I guess, part of our in-house news segment.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Do we have any other in-house news? I don't really have anything. I will say, the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network at electronicmediacollective.com website is now launched, and it is beautiful, and it went up without a hitch.
I feel like there's a little bit of hashtag in the future on that.
Hashtag in the future. Also, new GrawlixPodcast.com coming soon. That's actually true, too. I'm super excited. I have started that. I'm super excited about some of those features. I don't know how many of you listeners actually go to our website, but hopefully you'll have more reason to, because I've got some cool ideas for it.
Yep, it'll be great.
Wow, it's nice.
You'll like it. It's good.
The main thing I'm super excited about is being able to browse episodes by the comic books we talk about.
Yeah.
Like, you have a list of comics that are stuff we talked about, and you can click on it and be like, hey, that comic, I want to hear them talk about that. And you can click on it, and it'll go to the episode in which we talked about it.
Or if you can't remember the title of the episode and you want somebody else to listen to part of it, you'd be like, it was the one where they talked about this.
Oh, exactly. It just seems like, that seems like a good idea. So I'm super excited.
And you'll be able to find all of this in the mobile version of the site, too, because it's a responsive theme.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It'll actually look decent. And that's the main thing. That's the main thing between both website redesigns, this and the podcast network, is the mobile sites were junk. They were junk. And, I guess most people prefer to listen to the podcast on their phones, I guess.
Yeah, because it's the future.
So it only makes sense that I actually get it with the times. What do we talk about this episode, guys?
Morris Day and the times.
Sweet.
I mean, the time, right?
The time?
Yeah. Oh, wee, oh, wee, oh.
Okay.
I derailed you. Wow.
You
good.
did. You totally derailed me.
This is the poll list episode.
Yay! We get to talk about paper girls?
Paper girls.
Paper girls, not dolls.
Paper girls. Yeah.
Hey, Melanie.
Yes.
What's the poll list?
The poll list is a list with comics on it, and you get to vote in that poll on which is the next comic we read and review.
Exactly. Where can they do this?
They can do this at grawlixpodcast.com.
Precisely.
And you can get that on your phone, too.
Yes.
Yay! Morris Day in the Times.
This episode, we will be discussing the previous winner, which was Paper Girls. But before we do that, we got to find out what we're going to be reading for next month.
And the winner is...
Well, I'll tell you. It is Daredevil, Born Again.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and
More
I
Daredevil.
don't remember if that was a top pick last time or not, but it is edging out the others. I think there was like a 4-way tie. There is not anymore.
I think
There's
I voted
a
on
clear
one.
winner.
I voted on one of them one time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't remember which one, though.
Well, and this is a good, I mean, Daredevil, Born Again, that'll be a good one because it's like the last time we read Daredevil, it was, what was it? Daredevil Yellow, which was, it was a good, I mean, it was all right. But this is kind of considered like high watermark Daredevil. This is like when Frank Miller kind of put his stamp on it, and it was almost like a rebirth for Daredevil. Like before that, he was kind of mouthy like Spider-Man, and he was kind of swashbucklery and whatnot. And this is where he went a little bit more Batman. I think it'll be an interesting read.
I have never read it. This is the one when you hear, this is the one that you hear mentioned a lot when you look up like essential Daredevil reading.
Yeah, they usually talk about Daredevil, Born Again, or Man Without Fear, because Man Without Fear was kind of like Born Again. Born Again was like a reset, sort of, but it was still kept in continuity kind of thing. Man Without Fear was kind of like his retelling of the origin.
So I'm excited to read that one.
It's probably kind of timely considering, I don't know when Daredevil season 3 will come out, but I assume they will draw heavily on it since that's kind of where they left things.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode, we're going to be talking about Paper Girls, Volume 1, which is written by Brian K. Vaughan with Cliff Chiang on artist duties, Matt Wilson on colors, and Jared K. Fletcher on letters. This has a legit letterist. Or a lettering. Published by Image Comics. It opens really weird. Like, it opens with the dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Are we
meet,
sure, though? Are we sure it was a
well,
dream?
we don't know. It's either that or a flash. Maybe it's a flashback or a flash forward. I don't know. It's implied that it's a dream, but
I know.
We're introduced to Erin, and she has this trippy dream where she's on the moon with an apple. Well, we think it's the moon, but it's actually heaven. There's like a angels, astronaut angel, astronangel. I don't know what you'd call that. Angel not. Then he's like, "Hey, I'm here in heaven. Where's my sister?" And he's like, "Oh, Missy's in hell." Like this is a brutal dream. And then she's confronted by a demon, and yeah.
You can save her if you can solve this riddle, which is a math problem, I think.
It was like a multiple choice test that was about like Native American
Right.
history or something. It was like, what?
Yeah, sorry to jump back for just a second. Issues 1 through 5 is what this is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense, because it did seem kind of short, but...
Compared to what we've read in the past. Oh, and it's set in the 80s. It's set in like 1988. And we find that out because she is literally a paper girl.
Not that she's made out of paper, but that she delivers newspapers.
Oh, yeah, not literally a paper girl like that. Like, literally, she has the job of being a paper delivery person.
They were concerned for the day being someday, but I don't recall what that day was. But it reminds me of the Crow's, like, Hell Night, or what was that called?
Oh, was it Devil's Night or whatever?
Yeah, it reminds me of Devil's Night on that. They seem very apprehensive.
Well, it must be like Halloween or something, or
It's near Halloween.
because
If
they're
not
all like
on.
the local hooligans are in costume, and there's eggs on the sign and toilet paper everywhere. And
Yeah, I got the impression it was the morning after Halloween.
The morning after? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I could be wrong, but that was the impression I got. I figured it was like those guys are still out wandering about from Halloween night.
yeah, it's Tuesday, November 1st, because she's delivering that morning paper.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
And so it's just basic suburbia, right? Like she basically is a neighborhood paper girl, and it starts out with these hooligans kind of accosting her and giving her a hard time, and then the rest of the paper girls show up because she's the new girl, apparently.
And it seems like they're banded together because it is this day.
Yeah.
They don't generally deliver papers together, but people are butt heads and stay out late and cause havoc or something. And it's a good thing, too, because shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, do they ever? Like, we didn't really talk about it, but did you guys have any kind of a context for this going into it? Like, had you ever heard of it? Because I hadn't.
Nope, none at all.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it.
I mean, I knew it was something that people like. That's all I knew, is that like Brian K. Vaughan is well known for doing things that people like.
I didn't even know that.
It's a good thing to be well known for.
Yeah. Well, his creator-owned stuff usually tends to hit the mark.
That opening dream sequence is weird because it has, like, as far as I can tell, no bearing on anything.
No,
It's
at
just
all
kind of
that we know of.
crazy way to start this book, I think.
It kind of gives you that feel that this is not just going to be, a normal story. I mean, it is kind of a weird way to bookend it, but it's interesting because it gives you this bizarre idea, and then you wake up and everything's like normal, like more normal than normal. We're talking Reagan era, 80s, suburbia.
Mm-hmm.
For a minute.
Yeah, for a minute.
So we get the other girls come in, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of these other characters, particularly the smoking one?
The ginger.
Oh yeah, was she?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
Or she had orange drawn hair.
What was it, Mac?
Uh-huh.
She's like legendary or whatever because she was the first non-boy paper boy.
Yeah, she was the first paper girl. So they dropped some. What I'm getting at is like she dropped some language in here, which is interesting and period appropriate. But they also have one of the other characters then be like,
Oh yeah, they have to like correct her.
Yeah, you shouldn't call people the other F word. And
anybody can get AIDS, not just the gays.
Yeah.
And I get why they do that, but that kind of seems out of place because
that did take you out of the era a little bit.
Yes.
I mean,
so I don't know.
That's oddly present of her, or oddly progressive of her for that time period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I found it weird decision just to include any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, like this is the 80s, so it's like, what Kids on Bikes, that whole thing that they're like, that's come up in Stranger Things. It's that whole trope of kids on bikes, and there's even a pretty funny, like I think it's College Humor video of all the things where they show up at the guy's house and they're like, "Come on, get on your bike, let's go." And they're the kids on bikes. He's like, "I don't think I'm gonna, because every time we get on bikes, something terrible happens." I was like, "Hey, this is Kids on Bikes, except they're all girls."
So we're introduced to the other characters. Mac is one of them, and then there are two others. And I'm going to say that I had some difficulty here because I'm assuming the main character, Aaron, and then one of the other two look extremely similar, and the third one isn't really all that far off either. So I got very confused about who was who several times.
Yeah, no, I agree. Two of them, the new girl and
KJ, or
yeah, I think so. Those two I kept getting mixed up. And looking at them, they look different, but I don't know. I think they both have kind of dark hair, and their hairstyles are somewhat similar.
They both have bangs.
Yeah, I guess so. And that's totally an 80s thing. They all definitely look 80s. Yeah, I kind of had that issue myself. Later on, one of the characters gets shot, and I kept getting confused as to which one was shot. Well, they kind of split up, and there's some various stuff that kind of, I don't know, I guess just sets up, like, we get a little bit more about what's her name? Mac's character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of gets harassed by the local cop and all this, and doesn't put her cigarette out the whole time she's talking to the cops, mind you. How old are these girls supposed to be?
12.
12, yeah. So I thought that was interesting, I guess.
That's a horrible time, by the way.
What, 12?
Oh yeah, that's the beginning of the horrible.
When stuff really starts to pick up is they come across, you see them a couple times. These, was it 3 figures? And it looks like they're wrapped in like garbage bags and stuff. You can't
Like
really see their faces.
Ninja mummies.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look like mummies to me.
Their irises are all, or their pupils are all weird. Like triangular or something.
Like fidget spinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fidget spinner eyes.
And then one of them attacks one of the 2 groups of girls and steals her walkie-talkie.
Mm-hmm.
And they chase after him to get it. And when they get there, there's an evil-looking flesh pod, Videodrome, like a big scary meat pod in the basement.
Yeah.
It does have like a Cronenberg type thing where it's like technological, but also like there's weird fleshy bits and orifices and gross things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the shot where it like activates or something happens, and there's one shot where like there's a blinding light and you can see them all there, but like you could see their skeletons because it's like X-ray light type flash.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a little unclear on what exactly happens at that point,
Right.
because once they go outside of the house from there, everything's different. The sky's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see space. It's like purple and
Weird.
So what caused this change? Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to talk about certain things in this book because this is the first 5 issues of, obviously, I don't know if it's currently ongoing. I'm assuming it is, but like we get like no answers.
Yeah, we
to
really
anything.
don't know what's going on. I mean, I kind of have a vague idea, but I don't understand lots of things. Like, okay, first of all, yeah, I'm assuming it's their proximity to the ship that set them where they were at, which is either the future or some time in between, or place in between.
Do you think that's the deal?
It's got to be, right?
I don't know, because what's her name? Like, they go to Mac's house and her stepmom or whatever she was supposed to be is there. Like, why is she there?
That's the other thing that confused me. I'm like, why are some people still here? Like the teenagers too. Like they're here, but this is obviously not here, or it would be normal, right? But and some people are gone, so she thinks the mom or her stepmom thinks it's the rapture or something.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. So what the heck is it?
I mean, it doesn't seem the case. Technically it could still be the case, but because later on there's an appearance of this, I don't know what he is, but I assumed he was like a god type character wearing a Public Enemy shirt, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's obviously the one calling the shots, but
I don't think that that's what it is. I think they're just policing, maybe, but they're not just getting rid of everybody.
So the girls run out and they end up having another confrontation with these mummy ninjas. And it turns out these mummy ninjas are weirdly kind of mutated teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're one, I guess, faction. But then we also get the appearance of these other people who ride around in the sky on pterodactyls and stuff or whatever. And
have big, like, spear-looking laser shooters.
Yeah, and they're another faction. Like, those two...
And they're the adults.
And it seems like they're cleaning up this situation or trying to fix this situation. I'm unclear. It seems like they've abducted a bunch of people, I'm assuming, to put back after things get fixed, but I have no idea.
Although they do murder some people.
Okay, so they come across 2 like normal teenagers in this football field or whatever. Do they murder them thinking they're mutant teenagers, or is that like zapping them somewhere? Because it looked like murder.
Pretty sure they murdered them, and I don't think that they thought they were mutants because all they said was teenagers. They didn't say mutated teenagers. They were just like teenagers.
But that's generally what they call the mutated teenagers, is they're the teenagers. And it wasn't till one of them noticed that the girls were not mutated teenagers. They called them like locals or something like that.
Yeah, but the one guy referred to them as kids too. So maybe they're too young to qualify yet. Because technically they're preteens. They're tweens.
They get a gun.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they get a gun, and it's kind of Mac's stepmom's fault. She's like hammered and thinks it's the rapture and whatever, and it seems like she gets the gun from them.
No, she had the gun in the first place.
Oh, okay. But they went there to get the gun.
Yes. And then she thinks it's a rapture, so she decides she's going to shoot herself. Because that's what you do in the rapture, I guess. Don't really get that. And they're wrestling for the gun because her stepdaughter obviously would be traumatized by seeing her stepmother shoot herself and tries to stop that. Accidentally, the gun goes off, and it's kind of slightly humorous. They're like, it's miraculous, nobody got hurt. Wow. And they're like, oh no, never mind, she's bleeding. Aaron, right?
Yeah, that was Erin, the new girl. Yeah, so she got, like, gut shot.
Yeah, which is bad. Bad news bears.
And at that point, the mom, like, disappears. Now, did she run off, or did she, like, actually disappear? Because she's just gone.
She's just gone. Who knows? Maybe she got raptured away.
So then they hop in the car.
Yeah.
It's fun because they're all, like, 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to drive. But they hop in the car to get help for their friend, and then they come across one of the adults who realizes they're locals or whatever. And he says something about, this must be very distressing for you. Also, I kind of like their lingo.
Rastafarian.
Yeah. I get your future prediction now. I didn't catch it before.
Yeah, they totally sound like Rastafari.
Did he say something about, like, don't worry, you won't remember any of this or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
But then he gets blown away. He gets shot in the head. And they do a little misdirect, making you think it's, one of the girls shot him. But it's the mutated teenagers.
And then they're like, come with us.
Yeah, luckily one of them is still, like, handsome enough, I guess, to be presentable. Yeah. And they speak a completely alien language that is in weird symbols and stuff, but they have a, like, translator Babelfish device thing.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, one of them had already died, gotten killed by those adults.
Yes.
At some point earlier, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's when I think we first see those adults. I don't even know if we see the adults. We see, like, one of the dinosaur-looking creatures come down and kill it. But they do end up running off with them into, like, sewers.
Mm-hmm. Because they say that they can help heal Aaron.
Mm-hmm. That's when the God character kind of is brought in, or whoever this guy is, and he sends was it edicts? What was it? Edicts? He sends something in that's supposed to fix the situation, and it, like, is basically like a orb, a flying big ball of something. Of
eyeballs. It's like from Big Trouble in Little China, but not, because it's more machine than monster.
And it grabs onto one of the girls, and this sequence was interesting. It's just her playing, what was it?
Arkanoid, yeah.
Arkanoid for, like, pages and pages. It's just her playing Arkanoid, and, like, the seasons are going by and stuff like that.
It's like she's experiencing all the time that she's wasted or something.
Yeah.
Through this game, though. Like, yeah.
And that's what she said, like, they get her out of it. And, yeah, she said something about her whole life, like, it's like she experienced her whole life or whatever, and it was hell, and she wasted, yeah.
Why didn't I quit when I got stuck at level 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I thought that was
interesting. I can still hear that crappy music.
So they escape that thing. The guys, like, they run out into the forest, and they come to, basically, it's a pod that looks just like that one in the basement. They say, we can help your friend, heal your friend, or whatever. And they take her, Aaron, into the pod with them, and then the pod disappears.
And they're like, oh, snap.
I messed up. Yeah.
But one of them, who seemed really manly to me at the time, is smart enough to realize that ship probably was the ship that was in that they saw in the basement earlier, because it's a time machine, and that's just what happens with time machines, I guess.
They do kind of jump to that, like, reading the story, you're like, okay, that makes sense, but realistically, it's like, that's kind of a leap in logic. She just happens to be right.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So they do take her, I don't know, where? They take her to
a time warehouse or something.
Yeah, where there's, like, oh, mind you, like, they picked up what looks like a iPod shuffle type thing, or some little device with an apple on it. There's definitely time displaced devices and stuff. And these mutant teenagers have this warehouse full of different stuff from different time periods, including these, like, weird bugs, the mechanical bugs that will heal you, and they've put a bunch on her stomach. So they're legitimately healing her. Because the whole time you don't know, like, you still don't know who a good guy is or bad guy is in this situation.
Right.
It seems like there's some, like, emergency reason they have to go back, like, right away or something. Or they have to leave, or maybe it's just they're going back and it goes wrong.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. They're going back, and then it's because the people are still there looking for them, and there's some kind of a fuel leak. So they have to land somewhere where they can't find them, but they're leaking fuel, so they have to, figure something out, which I don't know that they do very well. But they end up in the basement.
Yeah, so they jump back, they end up in the basement, but it's a bumpy ride, it doesn't go well, and while Aaron's okay, the two mutant teenagers are kind of like phased into the wall of the thing, and
that's where it gets its meat from. No, I'm sorry.
That's why it's all like organic looking. But yeah, they're dead. Something's gone wrong. The one guy is alive long enough to talk to her. I don't remember what he says, but tell her something before, after she wakes up. Do her friends open it up?
Yeah,
I think it just opens.
Yeah, they're all kind of there at the same time.
Yeah, and they're waiting. They figured that's probably the same ship and that she was in there. So she's reunited with her friends there, and one of them does say something. Was she in there the whole time she was running around out here with us, or something like that? Fun little time travel musing. And then does it go off again? And oh no, they get like kind of the adults or whoever
have surrounded the house, I want to say, didn't they?
Yeah, they like surround the house.
Yeah, they're outside of this house that's being renovated or whatever.
And so the girls don't really know what to do. They don't want to go out there. The machine is freaking out again. But then the machine goes off and they are zapped through time, and you see 1990s or 1999 or something. You see, it's clearly they're jumping forward in time, and three of them land on like an interstate, and then a car pulls up and stops, and it's one of them. Is it the one that's missing?
No, because it's Aaron that gets out of the car, but they were looking.
Yeah,
for
so
KJ.
there's two. Yeah, so there's two Aarons here at that time. There's the younger Aaron and then her older self. But KJ, we have no idea where in time she is.
Okay.
She falls in the water at some point, apparently.
And that's where we end it.
Yeah. In case you couldn't tell, there's a little bit of confusion, but that's because it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of answers in this, which I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. Like, I assume we'll get those answers in a future volume.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, on initial reading, it was fine. It's just really difficult to explain it, considering we don't know what any of this means yet.
Yeah, no, it's fine, because, I mean, it's obviously the first 5 issues of an ongoing story, and it sets up a lot of stuff. Maybe not a lot of stuff. It just throws a lot of... The stuff that's there just seems so weird and random, kind of.
We know slightly more about what's going on than the girls do.
Yeah.
As the reader,
What did you guys think of this? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I'm very curious, so I kind of want to read more just because I want to know what the heck's going on. I'm interested in the whole old people Rasta situation, and I'm wondering if this, because I'm a nerd, so I'm wondering if this guy is like because just a different position in the universe, or if it's like we merged with Andromeda already, because that's going to happen, and I'm excited for it, even though I'll be gone. But maybe it's that.
Okay.
There's like this weird Apple theme that runs throughout. Like like the very first image in the whole volume is this apple that she has in her dream. And then you've got all the Apple products throughout. And then like when the weird godlike character, Rastafarian dude, answers his phone, like his phone is like an apple that slowly, like there's an eye on the apple and it opens as it starts to also gain the color of an apple, and there's just all sorts of weird stuff.
At the end, when he's outside of the house, before the house, like, whatever happens during the time travel bit at the very end, he's wearing a shirt with an apple on it. It's like Apple Records. And there's one panel that's a close-up of the shirt. And it's like, that's weird. Okay. Oh, no, it's because it's a close-up. I just remembered why, though. It's a close-up of the shirt, and then it goes to the one chick inside who's like connecting these Apple images, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why there was a close-up of it.
Oh, the tree of knowledge. Well, yeah, the tree of knowledge. That's from her dream at the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's because it's the Apple products are from the devil.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It'd be interesting if that's like, at the end of the whole thing, that's the moral of the story.
So we were curious about those teenagers, if they got like murdered out there in the field. There's a point where she's calling in to that guy again, grandfather, mea culpa, grandfather or whatever, and he's just like waking you up, and he's having his cup of coffee and whatnot, and she's asking if they can be detained and tried as adults, and with maximum charge, and he says, denied, I'll punish them myself. And he walks into like what looks like a cupboard, but it's just full of people, and those teenagers are in one of these like
Are they?
tubes or whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
Weird.
Totally looks like he killed him though.
Yeah, but like, who knows what's going on there?
Yeah, because it looks like at first like just like a zap them out, teleport them somewhere, but there's like a glowing like ash form of them that blows away in the wind afterwards. So that's why I was like, I thought they got murdered.
Well, and then the guy with the wolf mask or whatever, they have this really weird interaction with a guy, and you can't tell if he's just a trick or treater or if he's actually a wolf, because we've seen weirder stuff at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in a tube too.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because when they see him out in the street, like he's just not moving. He's just like mid-step or something, just standing there.
Yeah.
And then he just disappears. I like the setting. Of course, I like the kids on bikes, 80s thing. It works because I suppose nostalgia. I don't know. It just works. The characters of the girls are not bad. Like, it's interesting. There's a little bit of, what's the word? I don't know, not stereotyping.
That's the word I was thinking of, but
yeah,
archetype or what?
Yeah, archetype. Yeah, they're kind of archetypal. You don't really get to know any of them.
One of them's got a mom doctor, and she goes to private school. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erin goes to private school too, but it's not her. I'm assuming it's
KJ.
KJ. Yeah.
It's hard to say too much about like the world building. It's obviously it's setting up all kinds of this whatever this universe is, or with these.
We should do a paper girl study.
Oh, like Swamp Studies? Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a quick read. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially coming after 2 months of like Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Actually, I blew through this before December even started.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I read mine this morning.
But I like the sci-fi stuff. I like the time travel stuff.
Yep, me too. All of it.
This is a good not superhero comic too.
Mm-hmm. Well, they might end up with superheroes though, sort of ish.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't really be superheroes. They'd be more like just
like sci-fi.
Like Star Wars. Yeah, it'd be like the rogue people, the rebels.
The rebels resist.
I don't like the meat machines. Other than that,
Yeah. Organic machinery is always weird. And the story itself, like, okay, so the plot of what actually happened, I didn't mind. It does the kind of just general storytelling trope of like you're introduced through this character who's new, so they're being introduced, so you get a reason to get some exposition out of the way.
and then stuff just happens.
The last thing that we read by Brian K. Vaughan was The Pride of Baghdad. Do we see is there anything that's that carries over between the two? I mean, like, I don't know. It seems like there's some bizarre stuff that happens in Pride of Baghdad, and it's like, oh yeah, he likes the bizarre.
The only thing I would say is it's not like a centralized story, even though they're in this town, so it is, but you get almost a road trip feel.
Yeah.
Because you start off, that Aaron, whoever wakes up, hops on the bike, and then they're just traveling around town, and then things just happen, and they're kind of running between things happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all like the whole plot is just reacting to the stuff that's happening.
Yeah, and I guess Pride of Baghdad's kind of the same way in that they're traveling. They're traveling and things are happening.
Yeah. That's fair.
Which,
yeah.
I guess when you break it down, they're traveling and things are happening. But, that's really what it is. But in this, I liked, the decision to go get the gun and the wild situation that came out of that,
It's very kids with bikes kind of logic. Like, oh, that guy, those guys are creepy. We need a gun. Let's go get it.
pretty impressive that nobody lost their freaking mind when,
Yeah.
they come out and obviously they're in somewhere weird and there's pterodactyls flying around and, all that crazy kind of stuff.
Yeah, the girls held it together fairly well.
Yeah.
Her stepmom definitely didn't. So
No, she did not.
Well, even was it Tiff when she gets plugged into the machine and she experiences her whole wasted existence. It's like, wow, you really took that in stride too. I mean, you're a little despondent for a moment, but you put yourself together pretty quickly.
Yeah, but that's I think part of being a young person too.
Yeah.
More flexible, bounce.
it did well at keeping attention, like the introducing the gun into the story, or even like the guy stealing the walkie-talkie. Like it gave them reason to be running from confrontation to confrontation, and with some sense of tension that kind of kept getting ratcheted up. Like at first it's like, oh, they're trying to get their walkie-talkie from these guys, and then it's like everything's super crazy. Now they're going to go get a gun. And then they're trying to run away from these pterodactyl people, and yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Attack of the pterodactyl Rastafarians.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean to clarify to listeners who don't know what this is, like it's people riding pterodactyls. They're not pterodactyl people, but
Right. Oh, and they have like white spacesuits on, kind of. It's crazy.
They have a fantasy sci-fi look to them, like a mix.
They look like Stargate people. Except not gold. It's white instead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And the other guys look like they're wearing trash bags, so.
yeah, they do. Mummy ninjas.
Maybe trash bags are some kind of protection against time travel. You never know. You're not a time traveler, so.
You're right, I'm not. I wish I was.
Yeah.
Maybe. Unless it's confusing. It seems like it's probably confusing, though.
You think maybe, well, no, because it didn't happen to the girl, but I was going to say, maybe you lose your clothes like in...
The Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator, yeah.
But she had clothes on, but maybe that's why they died.
Oh, and the one guy's hand was through the other guy's head.
Ugh. Well,
Okay, so they were a couple, the two.
no.
Was it?
The one that died.
Of the three of them, the one that died first?
The one that died first was with the more mutated one. They were a couple.
Okay. It was fun. There was still tension. Really have no idea where it's going. It's definitely one of those, like at any given point, where is this going? And then you flip a couple pages and you're watching some chick play video games for like 3 pages in a row. And it's like, what is happening?
Right.
I would recommend it. I mean, man, it's like, it's a good time for a story like this because like if you like Stranger Things, only stranger, maybe check this out. If you want even Stranger Things.
I was gonna say it's like a period piece version of Saga, and then it was like, oh yeah, Brian K. Vaughan wrote Saga too. So
that's a good point. That's kind of what the pterodactyl people remind me of. It's that mesh of kind of fantasy, kind of space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more like Saga than the Pride of Baghdad, for sure.
And reading this, I did not realize, even though we probably mentioned it last month when we pulled it off the pull list, but reading it, I did not realize it was Brian K. Vaughan.
I still don't know who Brian K. Vaughan is.
Oh, you've read a bunch of
I know, I have, and I'm sure I like him, and I'm sure all that, but I'm never going to remember this tomorrow, so.
Yeah, you don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess like what I would say is like if you're into like Saga, I think you'll like this. I mean, it's not like exactly the same thing, but it's got a lot of similarities in the way that the stories are being told and how you really just don't know anything about the world and you just keep getting new pieces and new twists. So if you like Saga, I think you'll definitely like this too. I
think it might be slightly more kid friendly, but that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Not entirely, but they're not dropping an F-bomb and getting it on every 5 seconds either.
They're dropping the other F-bomb.
Well, that's
true. Yeah.
A symptom of the times, I guess.
Well, I mean, before recommending it to kids, that
I'm not saying that.
Worth noting.
Do kids listen to our show, Randy? No, they do not.
You don't know that. Actually, they might.
Well,
Scribblenauts videos didn't help.
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
help that.
And I think Bella
Right.
subscribed to us, at least.
Yeah.
But she's Bella. She doesn't even count. She's like 30 years old.
She's like 30 years old. How old is she really?
I think she's 10.
Yeah, exactly. She's not like 30 years old.
Well, she acts like it sometimes.
This is one of the very rare times when we know who added this to the pull list, and it was
Spunky D.
Spunky D.
Thank you, Spunky D.
Is that what we decided we were going to call him?
Yeah.
Spunk D. Brewster or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I went with Spunky D in the episode title last month because it rhymed with Jesse D.
Oh, gotcha.
I just went for that. It was almost going to be called Can We Start the Show? But
Can we start the show, please?
Can we start the show? 20 minutes in. At this time of recording, we don't have any letters for this episode. We don't have a letters page segment this episode, but that's okay. If you want to get in on future letters page segments, send us an email or even, record a little voice clip or something and send it to letters, that's letters, letters at grawlixpodcast.com, and we will read it on the show or play it on the show and discuss.
And then you'll be one of our friends for life.
Yeah, I mean...
We'll give you nicknames and everything.
Yep.
That, you know what? You're right. We will. We will give nicknames to everyone who sends us stuff, whether they want it or not.
All right, come on, we're in.
This is awesome. We're in the Grawlix studios.
Look, it's a plate of Mel's Hot Biscuits. I've heard about those.
Oh my God, check it out. Jesse and Randy's beard oil. I didn't know you can buy that in buckets. Well, that Sam Club's membership is really paying off.
Okay, let's get in their computer and drop this promo.
Okay, let's do it.
We're the Roman Podcast, and in the future, we're sneaking a promo on the Grawlix Show.
Okay, seriously.
Seriously. Here we go.
I'm Roman LeBeau.
And I'm Rob Gast.
And we're from the Roman Podcast. We're just two Canadian guys getting together once a week to put our own spin on weird stories and trending news.
That's right. You can get our show every Wednesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, the Laughable app, and of course, here on the EMC Podcast Network.
Okay, I think we got it. Put that on their show. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Hang on. While I'm in their computer, I'm just going to update their comic book pull list for the next few months.
What are you adding?
Captain Canuck, of course.
Nice.
All right, here we go. Quiet. Roll up.
Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Willis, the host of Movies Now and Then. We're a podcast that looks at one new release film in theaters, then we compare and contrast it with a classic or underappreciated film from cinema history. We're not a traditional movie show in that we try to have a more conversational approach to our discussion. We want our listeners to be informed, engaged, and hopefully even entertained. If this sounds like something you might enjoy, give us a listen. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere podcasts are found by searching Movies Now and Then.
This is Melanie. First, take a big step back and literally Grawlix your face.
This is Jesse. He says, welcome to the Grawlix Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use Grawlix.
This has been Randy. I don't know Grawlix. Mom always drives me. Thank you for listening to the Grawlix Podcast. The Grawlix Podcast is a production of the Electronic Media Collective and Vorpal Arrow Studios. For more Grawlix podcasts, check out grawlixpodcast.com. Also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, electronicmediacollective.com, facebook.com/grawlixpodcast, twitter.com/grawlixpodcast, all the .com/all the Grawlix podcasts.
We got some internet war drums going on.
Well, I've been hearing people
Unless
in
unless
my
it's
headphones.
The heater.
Oh, yeah, that's the heater. No, I've been hearing
Okay.
people in my headphones all day, so I think I'm crazy. Like before.
Kind of like a boom, 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 boom. It's almost like a video game type, like an old school Atari type of background noise.
Ours isn't necessarily that. The heater sound is like like kind of.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, before we were even connected to the stuff, I always had my headphones on, and Randy didn't hear it, but I heard somebody, it was a woman's voice, and it said, "Hello, hello."
Oh, no.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just
Yeah, that's
crazy.
creepy.
But I think it's some kind of interference. I don't know. It's got to be, right? It's got to be. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. No. No, 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 no.